They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, we all have thousands and thousands of photographs in our phones that we never get to share with anybody these days. So I figured, why not share them? Welcome to the photo dump. This is Riley's Reptiles. So this photograph is from back in my early zookeeper days when I was hired on as a keeper back at the Santa Barbara Zoo. This has to have been, 2012, 2013, something like that. And this is an education animal of mine that I had out for a presentation that we got in as a little baby. It's a gopher snake. We got in as a little guy, and he was a little sassy thing. And I spent a year working with him to the point where he was 100% trustworthy with other staff, the public, going out for outings, handling sessions, being pet by the public, all sorts of good stuff. And he ended up being one of my regular ambassador snakes to take out to meet the general public and get to see that snakes are awesome, unique, feel the texture, and learn all about them. So this was a really rewarding animal and changed a lot of perceptions in people's minds while I got to share them. So this right here is obviously a beautiful alligator, but more specifically, this is Mary Lou. Mary Lou has since passed on, but Mary Lou was a wonderful alligator at the Santa Barbara Zoo, and she was the first alligator I ever had the pleasure of taking care of. And she was wonderful, tolerant, tons of fun, was a great ambassador for the species, would do all sorts of training and all sorts of good stuff throughout the summer and warmer months, and just show off for the people of Santa Barbara. And was a great member of the zoo. Was wonderful to teach me all sorts of things about the species and get me going. And it was a pleasure to work with her. She'll be missed. Rest in peace, Mary Lou. And yeah, if you've never seen an alligator in person, I highly recommend you go check them out. They're a wonderful, wonderful reptile. So this beautiful little dude is one of the first rattlesnakes that I ever had the pleasure of working with. This little buzztail is a Southern Pacific rattlesnake, and these guys are found all throughout a lot of Southern California, even up in Central California. They're quite a placid species, but obviously still venomous. Don't pick them up. But this guy was always a pleasure to work with, always very calm and cool and collected, never aggressive. In this photograph, he's out in a shift can for exhibit maintenance while out on exhibit. We have to take him out and clean him from time to time. So we put him in a nice safety shift can for a temporary few minutes, and I took the liberty of taking a few photos of him and admiring him in all of his glory. So if you live in Southern California, this is probably one of the native species of rattlesnake that you might encounter. Don't worry, they're more scared of you than the other way around. Okay, last and not least, the fifth photo in this episode is of a very, very special and amazing animal who is an Asian water monitor who has recently passed away at the Santa Barbara Zoo. His name was RJ. The keeper staff named him after me after I left the zoo there. I facilitated his rescue along with one of the rescue organizations in the area in Santa Barbara, got our vet staff at the zoo to consider bringing him in, taking a look at him, and then ultimately deciding he could come live with us after nobody could claim him at the local shelter. So he was lucky to avoid termination, and even luckier to somehow have caught the attention of somebody to get a hold of me. And then he basically lived out the remainder of his life in the zoo, being spoiled and having massive enclosure, big pool, and all sorts of fun. So rest in peace, RJ. So last but not least, this beautiful photograph is of a very angry eastern diamondback rattlesnake named Maddie, who I used to take care of. And as you can see, she has pee on her head. Yes, that is her own urates on her head. She was very grumpy. We had just put her back in after cleaning off her enclosure, got as much of the urates off of her as we could, but with how venomous, large, and angry she is, we were just going to leave that until her next shed. But I figured I'd still show you one of my favorite rattlesnakes of all time, one of the largest pit vipers in the world, the largest native to the United States, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. Thank you for taking this photographic journey down memory lane with me. Join me next week for some more. This is Riley's Reptiles. You've just been watching The Photo Dump.